Welcome to Gabriel Music Notation. I'm your host, William Tapley, the inventor of Gabriel Music Notation. This video is a response to Joseph Austin, who posted a question about my Gabriel Music Notation system on the Music Notation Project website. He asked about a certain unusual feature of my Gabriel staff, which I will address in a few minutes. But first, let's review the main problem with our traditional music notation system. Musicians have known for a long time that the way to improve notation was to substitute one 12-tone chromatic scale for all 15 of those confusing 7-tone notation scales. However, this obvious improvement presents a very difficult challenge for inventors of chromatic systems, because such proposed staves must be 70% larger to accommodate 70% more notes. It's only logical. Back in the 1970s, my eureka moment came when I realized that the answer to this problem was simple. Compress the chromatic scale so that its 12 note heads register in the same staff height as 7 note heads. And this can easily be accomplished if succeeding note heads in the scale are separated by 1/3 note head intervals rather than the traditional 1/2 note head intervals. You can see how this works in the illustration on the right. Notice that my Gabriel staff registers 21 notes, which is 10 more than the traditional notation staff. Notice also that the 5 black rectangular-shaped note heads represent the 5 black keys on a keyboard, and 7 white oval-shaped note heads represent the 7 white keys. This color and shape contrast is a great advantage, because when you compress the chromatic scale and the notes are then separated by only 1/3 note head intervals, you must add extra contrast between them for easier identification. With my Gabriel system, there is more contrast than in traditional notation because, as I said, black keys on a keyboard are represented by black rectangular-shaped note heads, and white keys are represented by white oval-shaped note heads. Notes of the same color and configuration are actually further apart than in our current notation system. There is a 2/3 note head separation between the black rectangular notes and a 2/3 note head separation between the white notes. On the other hand, there are 4 notes of the same color and configuration which are closer together: B and C and E and F. Giving those notes greater distinction is imperative. And that is why the 3 black key grouping on a keyboard must register in the top and bottom narrow Gabriel staff subdivisions, and the 2 black key grouping must register in the wide center subdivision. The resulting construction brings us to Joe Austin's question. Wouldn't it be better to locate the 3 black note grouping in top and bottom wide staff subsections, and the 2 black key grouping in a center narrow subsection? I will now point out the drawback of such an arrangement. On the left is shown an alternate version of Gabriel Music Notation, which fits your suggested design with the same 21 note configuration as published in my regular Gabriel Music Notation, which I have published in at least 4 books by now. Notice on the left how the bottom staff line intersects both the note E and the note F. Let's take a close-up view. I think you can see how these 2 white oval notes are thus more visually confusing, because there is no black note head between them. And the same with notes for E and F. In traditional notation, this is no problem because B and C and E and F, although separated by only a half tone, register on their own unique line and staff location, the same as other notes that are separated by a whole tone. Thus we see that traditional notation is like a keyboard, in that neither one is accurate as far as expressing true intervals. In other words, half tone and whole tone intervals look identical. By contrast, my Gabriel system is superior to both traditional notation and keyboard design because its tone separations are correct. Whole tone separations are exactly twice the vertical separation of halftones. Therefore, it is imperative that the unique staff locations of B and C and E and F must be emphasized as much as possible for good comprehension. However, when the staff is organized with the wider sections at the top and bottom, the notes for B and C and E and F will look too similar because both are intersected by a staff line at 1/3 note head intervals. The only difference being that one note is intersected at the upper 1/3 of the note and the other note is intersected at the lower 1/3 of the note. Now this problem is resolved by Gabriel notation on the right because when two smaller subdivisions of the staff are placed at the top and bottom, then one of the notes, C or E, is tangent to the staff, and the other notes, B or F, are intersected by the staff line. Now the two notes do look different, more like a husband and wife, rather than like identical twins. So thanks to Joseph Austin for asking this question, and let me know if anyone else has questions about how I developed my Gabriel Music Notation system more than 50 years ago. You can contact me at William Tapley, Post Office Box 291, Osage, Iowa 50461, or visit my website, thirdeaglebooks.com, and click on the Music tab. And I do offer 4 books in my Gabriel Notation system. Let me see if I can read these off so you can see them at the same time. All Keys Are Easy, Introduction to Gabriel Music Notation, Volume 1. Let me see if I can do this and lay this down. Easiest Way to Read Music, Volume 2. Easy Keyboard for Beginners, Volume 3. And Christmas Carols, Volume 4. So if you're interested in those, you can find an order form on my website, thirdeaglebooks.com. So I hope to see all of you again on my next Gabriel Music Notation video.